Hello and thanks for joining us. 𝐊𝐶 here for 𝐾𝐒𝐲 TV. Welcome you all to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. To shed some light for us on the exciting exploration efforts of Raiden Resources, today we're joined by Mr. Dusko Ljubojevic, Managing Director of the dual-listed copper-gold focused exploration company, which owns a significant exploration footprint in the Western Tethyan in Europe and in the Pilbara region of Australia. So first to touch on the announcement that you made. You came out with a recent announcement on 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿. Could you maybe provide some context onto the acquisition and what it means for the company?
Certainly. So 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿 is an advanced nickel, copper, palladium project that we already had within our portfolio. It's had a lot of work, a lot of drilling done on this on the property. From about 2007, 2008 was the majority of the, that's when the majority of the work was actually conducted. So why this acquisition is significant is essentially it adds the upside exploration potential to that project, but probably more significantly, it adds the B2 project, the deposit prospect, or whatever you want to call it at the moment. So we have A1 and B1 on our property. This acquisition now adds another deposit to our project, and we're at a point where we're going to start looking at whether this potential, this district scale acquisition now that we have, has the potential for a standalone project.
Okay, and about when would that unfold, just timeline wise?
We are going to be looking at the data very closely over the next few weeks. There are tens of thousands of meters of drilling. A lot of work has been done, like I said, on this project. So next steps are going to involve us evaluating all this data, see where we are with the project and what the next steps are, what the project actually requires.
Right, it's great to hear. It sounds like you got a lot of work ahead of you there as well.
Absolutely.
Right. And now Raiden has shared its plans to focus on the Arrow and 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿 projects as well. What are your objectives for these two, if you haven't covered that already? Any further objectives?
Objective at Arrow is obviously a discovery. So we are approximately 35 kilometers along strike from the 𝐬𝐸 deposit, the Grain Mining's 𝐬𝐸 deposit. We've defined over 40 targets on this project. We are now gearing up for our first exploration campaign. So our objective is to systematically test this project over the next 12 to 18 months and drill all these targets and ultimately come to discovery. In terms of 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿, as I mentioned previously, a very large amount of work, significant amount of work has already been done on this project. So, we think this project has the potential for us to really focus in on it. It might act as the anchor for the company. It's really something for us to sink our teeth into and try and advance it potentially through studies over the next 12 months.
That's good to hear. It sounds very promising indeed for the company. Now, recently you've signed the exploration agreement with the Ministry of Energy, I believe, and I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but Zătlușa in Bulgaria. Now, it's considered one of the least explored and most prospective segments of the cretaceous geology in the region, which I'm sure you're aware of. Could you maybe share some insights into the scale of the opportunity of this project and expand on your activities in the region itself?
Certainly. So I think most of our news generation recently has been coming from Australia. The 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿 project, Arrow, has been very exciting for everybody. But not to distract the market from that, but we have a very, very large exploration portfolio in Eastern Europe. We have secured one of the largest exploration portfolios here, and it's very much tier 1 geology. Zătlușa is basically one of the largest projects within the portfolio. It comprises of basically 200 square kilometers of Cretaceous geology, as you mentioned. It's in a part of the belt which hasn't been explored for over 20 years. No modern geophysical surveys have been taken place. No modern geochemistry has been applied to the project. It's got a number of prospects on there from work which was conducted back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And the district itself is an analog to a number of other districts just along strike, both in Bulgaria and in Serbia, which host not a single tier 1 deposit, but entire districts defined by many tier 1 large porphyry and epithermal deposits. So the opportunity to discover a large porphyry or epithermal tier 1 style mineralization is very significant. We're very excited to get into this project.
Absolutely. I mean, that sounds, just from the figures that you mentioned and how unexplored it is, it sounds like it's definitely an opportunity for the taking for you there. So that should be good to see how it turns out and what you discover.
Yep.
Right. Just before we wrap up now, could you quickly go over your objectives for the following 12 months that we've got coming up? What can we expect to see?
I think the objectives will be obviously a discovery. You know, we've done a lot of work in terms of both in Europe and in Australia in terms of target generation, acquisition, and consolidation within the various districts which we're operating in. So we expect a lot of the hard work that we've put in over the last 3 or 4 years. Now it's the realization time. We have support from the market. The market wants to see us drilling. We have the funds to drill these projects. So obviously the focus being on discovering something at Arrow, as well as it's something in Eastern Europe. But a dual focus for the company will be at Mount Shoal, which, like I said today, this recent acquisition really puts the project, elevates the importance of this project, because now we have 3 historical deposits on our ground holding. They're very close to each other. We think there's a potential scale here, which really allows us to say that we will be looking very closely to see what the historical data is telling us, and if there's the potential to start looking at the economics of what we already have.
It's incredible. It sounds like you're really poised for success there, and all the hard work over the past years will be paying off very soon.
Yeah, it's a overnight success over the last 4 years in the making.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll get to see some of that success for you in the next year or two, the next coming years. So it won't be too long for you then. And I've got to say thanks so much for your time. I don't want to take any more of it, but thanks for all the info you've shared. It's been really great to hear insights.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks for your time as well.